Hey everybody, welcome back to Plum Figgy. This is Tammy. As promised, here we have a tutorial on how I did the tab binding on the tab binding junk journals that I just recently put up for sale in my Etsy shop. So for anyone who hasn't seen the flip through of them yet, this is the only one I have left. I will make more, so don't worry about that. This is the only one I have left right now though. So I'll kind of quickly show you what the whole tab binding is and just kind of talk a little Basically bit. What you have is, instead of a typical signature, and let me pull this out. This is the signature I'm going to be using for our purposes today. Typically you have a signature where your papers wrap around, right? And then you sew, do a pamphlet stitch or some type of stitch to stitch them all together. Well, in this particular binding method, we have individual cards like this, and we're going to bind them together just as they are, not being folded, whatever, in any way, shape, or form. So we have tabs that function as our binding method rather than the pamphlet stitch. So I'll just do a quick flip through of this again. So here you can see I've used an envelope. I'll talk more about how I did this, but well, actually I can show it to you now since it's obviously right here. So it's not tall enough to be, the tabs weren't going to hit all of the envelope. So what I did was cut a little strip of this paper and sewed the envelope to that, and then I used this to bind it with. Here's the junk journal part. So this is basically what I just showed you, just it's a little bit more decorated, and that is one of our pages of our little book. So, and then the rest of it is another journaling card. Here we have another cloth envelope. Again, it was too short, so I had to cut a strip of the paper journaling card to be the right height. And then the back page is yet another journaling card. So here is the, okay, and so I'm going to just set this over here off to the side. And the other important thing that we need is our fabric. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do as even of tabs as I can get. It'll just help, especially if you're first starting doing this. Probably want to try and keep your tabs as even as possible. Before I know how many I need, I'm going to wait to cut this one up, because if I don't need tabs, I'll use those for something else, but actually I will have to. So okay, so we've got our fabric tabs, and like I said, you can have a mixture of different fabrics. I've even used sari silk for my tabs. It's a little thin, but you know what, the way that I finish mine, it is with sewing, so they're sturdy, they're not going anywhere. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to find the center of the height. So I'm going to get out my Tim Holtz centering ruler. You don't have to have a centering ruler, it just makes things so much easier. Alright, so here's my center, so I'm just going to mark that. Light enough that it won't show through the fabric, but dark enough that I can still see it. Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink of water here. Okay, now I want to line this up along a straight edge on this edge here. That's just going to help me keep my tabs kind of centered, or you know, square up my tabs, I guess. And then I'm going to start with the center tab here, and I've seen different numbers of tabs. I like to do 3 on the first page, 2 on the second page, 3 on the next page, and alternate 3, 2, 3, 2. So that's why I wanted to center this first one, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue that down. Now, if you're not sewing these after you're all done, don't use a glue stick, please, because it's not gonna last. You need to use something like this, Fabri-Tac. Currently it's so hot in my room and this is kind of running on empty. This thing's like super gloopy at the moment, so I'm just gonna tack these down right now with my Yoo-Hoo glue stick. And like I said, I'm gonna be coming back and sewing again anyway. So all right, we've got our middle one. Now I want to get our other two kind of lined up where we might want them, and I'm paying attention to the amount of distance between the top of my tab and the top of my page, and I kind of want to keep that equal as much as I can. But then, oh jeez, my ceiling fan is just blowing things everywhere. Just set that right there. So the other thing I want to kind of think of on this first one, and I only do this on the first one, is I have to make sure that I have room for the other two, for the next page, the two tabs that I'm going to put on those. So here you can see it's a little bit squishy. So I maybe this isn't very centered. Well, it is what it is now. That's called being handmade. So as you can see, what I don't want to have happen is this, right? I want to make sure that it's okay that they butt up to each other, but I don't want them to overlap, okay? So, and you know what I could do is just take off some of the width. They don't need to be this wide, and maybe that'll just help. All right, so we'll have a few different sizes. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick this one up here and that one there, and then I'm just gonna pull these two away because we're done with that now, and tack this down with some glue. Make sure I've still got enough room. Yep, plenty of room. I'm not gonna put that small one on the front. We can hide that one more in the middle somewhere. And we'll put this one here. And we don't need that to be quite that wide either. Okay, and then I like the roughed up edges, so I'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so let me get rid of all my trash here. So we have our first page done. Gosh, that took a while, didn't it? Okay, now when you're done with that, all you're gonna do is flip that over, and you may want to line up against a line again. It may help you. Okay, so here is my short page, right? And as you can see, even though we're going to put two on this front, we're gonna flip this over, and then I need to wrap these around and glue these to the back side of this one. But obviously that's not gonna work. That's not gonna hold on to anything. So this is where we come to what I did here, that I showed you, where I did another strip, and I just sewed it to that. You don't have to sew it, you could glue it. I probably did both, if you honestly, but that helps you get your height. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quick. I'll pause and I'll be right back with that. So we are ready to now keep going. So let me just reiterate what we've done. So we've got 3 on the front. The next one is gonna have 2 on the front. So flip that over. Now we're ready to put 2 on the front. I like to kind of lay it like this at first because I can visually see behind there where my tabs are, and then I just want to sorry, and I need to pull this down. I apologize, I moved my camera and I don't know where center is anymore. Okay, so it's easier for me too because I don't have to reach as far. All right, so what I'm going to do is just, again, lay out where I want my 2 tabs to be, and I'm just making sure that they're staying in the middle and not overlapping with the 3 that we just did. And I'll go ahead and just tack this down with my glue. And also, you don't really have to lay it out because obviously you can see where your gap is going to be. But, you know, when you're beginning to do something different or new, it's always nice to kind of take it a little bit slower and just make sure that you know how you're doing it and don't make a mistake, right? Okay, so now we're going to turn that over and I'm going to line up my height. Oh, we're going to have a kitty cat in just a second. Just you wait. Okay, so these are the 2 that I just did. And then these are the 3 that I originally did on the front cover. What we need to do is wrap the 3 that we first did around and attach those to the back of our second page. Now, here you saw I did not go completely flush with the fabric. I made sure to keep just a little bit of a gap, and I can show you that. So that's what that'll look like. It doesn't take too much, but a little bit is really helpful. Okay, so there's our first one. I'm just going to go up here and do this top one. Trying to keep it straight. Trying not to pull it off. Okay, don't do this one, don't do that one. We're going to come down here and tack this bottom one down. And obviously, like I said, if I was not sewing this after we're all done, I would definitely do a much better job of gluing these down. But I just need to tack them for right now. Okay, so there's page number 2. So now we have 2 tabs hanging out. Let's lay down our next one. Okay, so this one again is a little bit short, but oh, here we go, kitty cat. Okay, you need to get down. I know. I know you want to. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? It was shorter for you than it was for me. Okay, so what we have here is another kind of short page, right, in height. So, but as I'm lining this up, I can see not most of the tab is going to hit the card. So this one's not so bad. This one was just too short. So I needed to do that in order to fix it. Okay, so we did 3 on the first page, then 2, and now we need to do 3 again on this page. And again, I'm just kind of lining this up, and I'm going to line it up and use these tabs as my guide on where the new ones are going to go. So let me put this one down first in the middle. This one's awfully large tab. That's okay. All right, and then this one, as much of that as I can get up there, and glue that one down, and then again as much of this one as I can get down here. Okay, so we've got our 3 tabs glued down. We're going to turn that over. I'm going to line this up so that I have gaps. Actually, I can go a little bit more up. And then we're going to wrap our 2 tabs over the back like we just did with the other one. So gluing that one down. See, I almost did that. That was the wrong one. You know what? Oh, I do have cat hair in there. Jeez, cat. I swear. My life is just cleaning off cat hair from things. Okay. And probably up too far. All right, so let me finish gluing that. Nice thing about this glue stick is it dries clear. So even though you can see through the blue right now, at the end of it, you won't. All right, so I've used up all my tabs. I need to make some more. I prefer doing them as I go rather than all of them at one time. Just makes things a little bit easier, I've found. More cat hair. All right. I'm gonna make these just a little bit less, and I'm gonna cut these like that. All right. So we've got probably enough to finish now. Okay, so now I'm at the point where I'm ready to add my signature, and I'm just going to line this up vertically. And I already showed you I've done a pamphlet stitch on this, so this is actually sewn together already. So if you're doing one with a signature inside, you know, sorry, I just double checked because I'm like, did I really glue that down? Yes, that's secure. Okay. if you're doing one like this where you're putting a signature in as one of your pages, then it definitely needs to be bound together in some other form or fashion, because just these tabs obviously are not going to keep all of your pages together. So all right, so, and I have to do this every time because I'm so forgetful. So we did 3, 2, 3, and then now this one will have 2, and I want to, and another good trick that I've found is to keep yourself from forgetting the number of tabs you need. The number of tabs that you just pulled over and glued to the back side is the number of tabs you need on the next one. So that's another way to kind of keep yourself straight. And then again, I'm going to line that up with, you know what? I need a sturdier cover for this. Eventually. But all right, let's get back to where we were. So we've got 3 on the front, and then 2, and then 3 here. And then now this will be 2 tabs. So I want to make sure I can still see these. And I'm going to try and line this up height-wise because it is the same height. I didn't really plan it that way, but it happened to become that way, which was awesome. All right, so these are a little bit smaller. I'm going to keep those for the next ones. So pretty much all you got to do is the same thing that we've already done. I'm just gonna tack down these fabric tabs like we've just been doing. So I'm gonna put this one here and this one here, and then just flip this over. All right, so now we can see my 5 tabs, and it's pretty well evened out, but this one's overlapping just a tiny bit. So there we go, pull that down. Okay, so we added these 2, so now we need to flip these 3 over. And because this is a signature and it's a little bit thicker, and I want to be able to lay it flat and write in it, I'm going to add just a little more room here. I don't want it to be flush, and I'm giving it just an extra bit more room than I did on the others, just to give it some more area to open. Okay, so we've got those 3 down. Now we're back to our note cards, and the signature on the front cover I did 2, and if we're using our little trick, we just glued back 3, so I'm going to add 3 to the cover of this one, and yet again I'm going to use the 3 that I just glued as my guide. Add a little bit of glue and reline this up here. Get 3 of my tabs, fabric tabs. Okay, got those down. Flip that over. Line it back up along this edge, and we're gonna flip these 2 over. So let's add some glue. And again, I'm gonna give it a little bit more room than I normally would have if I was just using skinny pages, but I'm trying to accommodate for that signature in there. So I did give it a little bit more room because I do want it to eventually lay flat. And then now we're at our last page, but instead of gluing them here, because remember when we flip it over, we always have to close it off on the back side. Well, we don't want to have 2 tabs sticking out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lay our last page down on top and line it up again. And then we're just going to glue these 3 that were still hanging out down. Just like so. And if you are not planning on doing any sewing, you're done. That's it. That's the tab binding method. I will show you what I've done to try and keep things just a little bit more snug and secure. So let me grab just this one that's in front of me. I don't know if you can see here, but I've got a zigzag stitch. This is at this point in the game, this is when I've added that. And basically all I've done is I opened it, and then this went into the sewing machine, and the needle is right here, and I'm just sewing a zigzag straight stitch down, and I'm capturing each of these tabs. That one's done. Flip it over, pull the next one. So now I'm grabbing all 5 because this one has some on the front and some on the back. Flipping that over when I'm done sewing, and sewing this one. Keep going. And then this is the last page. Sew this one down, and you're grabbing the 3 on the back side. So that's what I've done to kind of finish it. It's a little bit trickier when you have a signature like this. And like I said, this one is a little bit unruly at the moment because it needs to just calm down a little bit. But it's a little trickier. So let me show you on this one kind of what I did. So again, here's my first page. So I opened it like this so that all the rest of the pages are off to the left side of your sewing machine, and this is now what's going through your sewing machine. Flipping that over when I'm done, and then this is the next page, sewing that. And then now we're at the cover of the signature. So all I'm doing is opening the cover, and then the rest of that is on the left. And I'm being very careful. I'm not going super close to the very end, but I want to make sure and get all of the tabs. So here you can see the back side of that. So when we're done with that one, I'm going to close the signature and get to the back page of the signature, which is right here. And we're going to open it like this, turn it upside down, and then I sewed like that. Okay, so it's a little bit fidgetier. Now that's done. Here's my cover. So I've got all of this kind of looped back to the back side, and then now I'm ready for the next page. Just kind of doing the same thing. So sew, flip it over, sew, and then that's the back page, and you're all done. So, and that is another kind of reason why I like having just a little bit of extra give in between on the tab.
Alright guys, so that's how you do a tab binding junk journal. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing any comments you might have, and if you want a chattier version of this, I have that too, and some kitty bloopers. So, alright, I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you all very soon. Bye!